5 years. That's how long it's been since Clara walked out of my life. 5 years since her laughter turned into silence and her promises turned into ashes. I told myself I'd buried her. I lied. Mr. Cole, my assistant's voice broke through the hum of the office. There's someone here to see you. I told you. No appointments without notice. She said it's urgent. A pause. Her name is Clara Reynolds. For a moment, the air left the room. My hand froze mid-signature. I stared at the papers on my desk, at my name embossed in gold, Ethan Cole, CEO, and almost laughed. Karma really had a twisted sense of timing. Send her in, I said, my voice colder than I intended. The door opened, and there she was. Clara, the woman who burned my world to the ground. Her once shining hair hung lifeless around her shoulders, her eyes swollen, her posture trembling. I expected rage to rise in me, but instead I felt nothing. Just the faint echo of a man I used to be, Ethan. Her voice cracked like old glass. You look different. I should. It's been 5 years. I leaned back in my chair. You don't, she flinched. I know I have no right to be here, but I didn't know where else to go. There's always somewhere else, I said quietly. You just came here because it's convenient now. Her eyes filled with tears. Please don't talk like that. I know I hurt you, but hurt me? I laughed softly. No, Clara, you didn't hurt me. You destroyed me. And then you handed me the ashes with a smile. She covered her mouth, her voice trembling. I was young, stupid. I thought Liam... Stop. I raised a hand. Don't say his name. She fell silent. The sound of her shallow breathing filled the space between us. I didn't come here to ask for forgiveness, she said finally. I lost everything, Ethan. Liam left. The company failed. My father disowned me. I don't even have a home. And what do you expect me to do with that? Her lips trembled. I thought maybe you could help me. A job. A place to start again. I almost smiled. You think life works like that? You break a man, vanish, and come back when your world collapses, expecting him to save you? She wiped her tears. I'm not expecting anything. I just didn't know where else to go. Funny, I said. That's exactly what I told myself 5 years ago, Sal, when you walked away. She sank into the chair across from me. Ethan, please. I'm not asking for pity. Just a chance, I studied her. For a second, I saw the woman I once loved, full of light, laughter, lies. Then I remembered the night I found them together. Her hand on Liam's arm. His smirk. My name whispered between their laughter like a joke. Why now? I asked. Why after all this time? Because you're the only person who ever believed in me. Her voice broke. Even when I didn't deserve it. And you still don't, I said softly. Tears spilled down her face. Ethan, please. I can't go back out there. I have nothing. I leaned forward, my voice low, calm, dangerous. You had me once, Clara. You threw that away for something shiny. I built myself from the ruins you left. You think I'll risk that again? I'm not asking you to love me, she whispered. Just to see me as human. I stopped seeing you that way the night you lied to me, I replied. Her shoulders shook. Then why let me in? Why not throw me out? I met her eyes. Because I wanted to see what regret looks like. She stared at me, speechless. Get up, Clara. My tone softened just slightly. You'll get your job. Not because I forgive you, but because I want you to see what real power looks like. She blinked through her tears. You're giving me a job? Yes, I said. As my assistant. You'll start tomorrow. Don't be late, her mouth fell open. Ethan, why? I stood buttoning my suit jacket. Because the past deserves to watch the man it tried to destroy. She looked at me as if trying to recognize someone she once knew. But that man was gone. As she walked out, I turned toward the window. The city lights flickered like old memories, bright, distant, unreachable. The ghost from my past had returned, and for the first time in 5 years, I felt alive again. Do you ever think about the future, Ethan? Clara asked me once, her head resting on my shoulder. Every day, I said, smiling. You, me, a small apartment, maybe a coffee shop near the park? Nothing fancy. Just ours, she laughed softly. You and your small dreams. Small dreams keep people grounded. Big dreams make people unforgettable. Didn't realize back then how easily unforgettable could turn into unforgivable. Liam clinked his glass against mine that same evening. You've got it all, man. The girl, the job, the talent. You're unstoppable. Stop flattering me, I laughed. You're the one who pushed me to start that project. Without you, I'd still be stuck in that tiny office, he smirked. Yeah, without me. Looking back, maybe I should have heard the poison under his grin. But I was blind. Blinded by loyalty, by trust, by love. 2 weeks later, the cracks began to show. Ethan, you missed the investor call, my boss snapped. What's going on with you? I was handling the client presentation Liam promised he'd forward. He said you never prepared it. What? That's not true! His eyes narrowed. Don't make excuses. This company can't afford incompetence. That was the first time I felt the ground shift beneath me. When I left his office, Liam was waiting by the elevator. You told him I didn't prepare the file? I demanded, he shrugged. You didn't send it on time. I sent it to you. He smiled faintly. Then maybe it got lost. Lost? My voice cracked. You sabotaged me. Come on, Ethan, don't be dramatic. He leaned closer. Not everyone gets to win forever. I stared at him, speechless. You were my friend. I still am, he said, clapping my shoulder. But friendship doesn't pay bills. That night, Clara called. Liam told me you yelled at him, she said, her voice soft, cautious. I yelled because he lied, I said. He's setting me up. Ethan, she sighed. You always think people are out to get you. Because they are. He's twisting everything, Clara. Can't you see it? I think you're just stressed. Stressed? I laughed bitterly. I'm fighting for my job, she hesitated. Maybe you should take a few days off. I can't afford that. You can't afford to burn bridges either, she said, her tone sharp. Liam's just trying to help. Help? My voice broke. He's trying to take everything from me. Then maybe you should stop making him your enemy. That was the first time I realized she'd already chosen her side. A week later, I was called into the boardroom. We've decided to terminate your employment. Mr. Cole, the words hit harder than any punch could. For what? I managed to ask. Misconduct. Breach of trust. The investors lost faith after your repeated errors. Errors that weren't mine. Lies that weren't mine. I turned toward the glass wall and saw Liam standing outside whispering something to Clara. She wouldn't look at me. Clara, I said quietly as I walked out. You knew, her eyes glistened. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You knew, I repeated. Liam stepped forward. Let's not make a scene, Ethan. A scene? I laughed hollowly. You stole my work, my job, and her. You think I'll just walk away? He smirked. What else can you do? I didn't answer. I walked out into the rain instead. By the time I reached home, everything felt numb. The rain soaked through my clothes, but I didn't move. My apartment was half empty. Clara had already taken her things. Her note sat on the kitchen table. I'm sorry. Liam can help me in ways you can't. I need stability, Ethan. Please understand. Understand. The word burned like acid. I crumpled the note in my fist. Stability, I whispered. You traded love for security. The door creaked open behind me. For a moment, I thought she'd come back. But it was Liam. You shouldn't be here, I said. I came to return your key. He dropped it on the table. You'll thank me one day. For what? Taking everything I had? For setting you free, he said, his grin sharp. You were too soft for this world. I stepped closer. One day, Liam. One day you'll choke on your own lies, he chuckled. We'll see. When he left, I fell to my knees. The sound of rain against the windows was the only witness to my collapse. I didn't cry. Not then. I just stared at the floor and whispered, maybe it's better if I don't wake up tomorrow. But the sun rose anyway. And when it did, I wasn't Ethan Cole anymore. I was the man who'd bury him and rise from his grave. You look like hell, Mark said when he first saw me. I feel worse, I muttered, my voice hoarse. You hiring or just judging? He chuckled. Both. I like broken people. They work harder. That was how it began. A coffee shop interview with a man who saw through me like glass. What happened to you, kid? He asked. I trusted the wrong people. He leaned back. Good. That's how most of us start. The trick is to stop trusting pain more than progress. I frowned. And what if pain's all that's left? Then use it, he said. Let it build you instead of burying you. That sentence stayed with me for years. Mark became more than a boss. He was a mirror. He never asked for details, but he saw the storm behind my silence. Paperwork done? He'd ask. Almost. You're still thinking about her. I'm thinking about mistakes. He smiled faintly. They're the best teachers you'll ever have. Sometimes I hated his calm. Sometimes I envied it. Months turned into years. I learned everything from construction blueprints to negotiation tactics. I studied at night, worked during the day, and bled through every hour in between. One evening, Mark found me alone at the office. Still here? Work's not done. It never is, he said, walking in. You think staying late will erase your past? I think staying still will repeat it. He nodded. Fair answer. But don't forget to live, Ethan. Vengeance makes a terrible roommate. I'm not looking for revenge, I lied. He smirked. Of course not. That's why you grind like a man chasing ghosts. I didn't answer. He was right. I was chasing ghosts, not to destroy them, but to prove they couldn't destroy me. By the third year, I was managing his biggest projects. Mark trusted me like a son. He'd say, "You've got the hunger. Keep it, but don't let it eat you." I built connections, saved every dollar, learned how money moves and how people sell their souls for it. Every deal I closed felt like a wound stitched. Every success, a piece of my broken self welded back together. But Clara still lingered, not in memory, but in motive. Whenever fatigue hit, I'd whisper her name, not in love, but in defiance. One night, while working late, I found an old photo of us in a drawer I hadn't opened in years. Her smile stared back at me, soft, confident, cruelly pure. I laughed bitterly. You're still pushing me, Clara, even now. Mark's voice came from the doorway. You talking to ghosts again? Maybe, he stepped closer. Then tell them thank you. Without ghosts, you'd have no reason to stand. I already do. Good, he said, because it's time you built your own company. What? You've outgrown this place, he said simply. You've earned your scars. Now use them, I stared at him. You're serious? Deadly. I'll even invest if you promise not to become me. I smiled faintly. No chance. I'll be worse, he laughed. Then you'll make it. Starting from scratch wasn't brave, it was necessary. I worked out of a basement with borrowed furniture and one loyal assistant, Sarah. She once asked me, why name it Cole Realty? You could have chosen something flashy. Because it's the only name I didn't lose, I said. She looked at me, puzzled but silent. Years rolled on. Deals grew bigger. Clients stopped doubting my age and started fearing my silence. I built a reputation for being ruthless but fair. A man who never forgot a favor or a betrayal. By the time I turned 30, I owned 3 offices across the city. Reporters wrote about the mysterious rise of Ethan Cole. None of them knew I built it with rage and rainwater. One night, Mark visited my new office. He poured 2 glasses of whiskey and said, You did it. I did, I said, but I don't feel different. That's because success isn't healing. It's distraction. I thought revenge would heal, he smiled. It never does. It just makes the silence louder. I stared out the window, the city glittering below. Then what heals? Closure, he said softly. But you won't find that in bank statements. I nodded, though I didn't understand. Not yet. Later that night, alone again, I whispered to the skyline, You'll see me, Clara. You'll see what your absence built. The words didn't sound bitter anymore. They sounded like truth. I had rebuilt everything, my body, my voice, my power. But peace? That was still missing, and deep down I knew it had her name written all over it. Sarah burst into my office, pale and breathless. Ethan, you need to see this. I didn't look up from my laptop. If it's another reporter, tell them I don't do nostalgia pieces. It's not a reporter, she said quietly. It's Clara. Her name felt like a ghost brushing my spine. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. Clara who? You know which Clara, she whispered. I leaned back, forcing calm. Send her in. Sarah hesitated. Are you sure? You look like you're about to walk into a fire. I built this place out of fire, I said. Let her in. The door opened, and the past walked in wearing a faded coat and swollen eyes. Ethan. Her voice trembled. You look different, I studied her. Once radiant, now hollow. Her perfume was gone, replaced by rain and regret. 5 years, I said. That's a long time to miss someone you buried, she flinched. I didn't come to talk about the past. Then why are you here? I need a job, I almost laughed. You came to me for help? She nodded, tears pooling. I know I don't deserve to ask. But I have nothing left. Liam, he ruined you? I interrupted. How poetic, she covered her face. He took everything, Ethan, my savings, my name. I can't even get hired without someone whispering about me. Maybe that's karma. Her voice cracked. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, I said sharply. You chose him. You lied for him. You watched while he destroyed me. I thought he loved me, she shouted, her mask breaking. I thought you'd move on. I did. Silence cut the room in half. She sank into the chair, shaking. Please, just a chance. I'll take any position. Assistant receptionist. You think working here will fix what you broke? No, she whispered. But it might help me survive what's left. I stared at her. The proud woman who once said I wasn't enough now begged for scraps. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like watching a mirror crack. What would Liam say, I asked, if he saw you here begging the man you betrayed? She looked down. He won't say anything. He's gone. Gone? He disappeared after draining my accounts. I haven't seen him in months, I leaned forward. So you came running back to the one man who remembers what loyalty means? Tears fell silently. I came to the only man I ever truly loved. I laughed, a sound colder than the air. Don't insult me. You loved comfort, not me. You traded hearts for luxury and got counterfeit in return. She looked up, eyes red. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I had to try. I've been living like a ghost. I studied her for a long moment, then stood. You want a job? Fine, her breath caught.
You mean it?
Yes, I said. But not out of pity. You'll start as an assistant. Low pay, long hours. You'll earn every second of my attention. She nodded quickly. I'll do anything. I know, I murmured. After she left, Sarah slipped in, closing the door behind her. You actually hired her?
Yes, she folded her arms.
You realize this isn't smart? Probably not. She's the reason you almost destroyed yourself, Ethan. I remember. Then why bring her back? I met her gaze. Because ghosts don't disappear until you face them. Sarah frowned. You're not facing her, you're playing with fire. I just want closure, I said quietly. No, she said. You want control. Maybe she was right. The next day, Clara showed up early. She avoided eye contact, spoke softly, and moved like someone afraid of breathing too loud. Good morning, she said timidly. Morning, I replied. She handed me the reports I hadn't asked for. I thought you might want these ready before the meeting. Efficient, I said. I didn't expect that. I'm not who I was, Ethan. Neither am I. Her eyes glistened. I can see that. You've become everything we dreamed of. We? I repeated. Don't rewrite history. You left before the dream even began, she bit her lip. I regret it every day. Regret, I said, is a luxury that comes after consequence. She whispered, then I've paid enough. I didn't respond. My silence was the wall she couldn't climb. By evening, Sarah knocked again. She's crying in the break room. Let her. You're enjoying this, aren't you? No, I said. I'm remembering. Remembering or reliving? I stared at the skyline, the city burning gold in the dusk. Maybe both, she sighed. Be careful, Ethan. Closure and revenge looked the same in the beginning. I didn't answer. Because deep down, I knew she was right. But as Clara's reflection appeared in the glass behind me, fragile and uncertain, I couldn't help but think, maybe this was the beginning of both. The days that followed were quiet, too quiet. Clara moved through the office like a shadow, silent and small. Sarah watched her like a hawk, and I pretended not to notice. Pretending was something I'd mastered. Are you sure this is a good idea? Sarah asked one morning, leaning on my desk. I don't do good ideas, I said. I do necessary ones. She's fragile, Ethan, you're not. Exactly, she frowned. That's not closure. That's cruelty. It's clarity, I corrected. There's a difference. Later that day, Clara appeared at my door holding files she didn't need to bring. "Mr. Cole," she said softly, avoiding my eyes. "Still pretending we're strangers? I thought professionalism might help." "It never helped you before," I said. She hesitated. "I just wanted to say, thank you for giving me this chance. I didn't give you anything." "You're earning it," she nodded. "I know, I just didn't think I'd see you again." "Neither did I said. "Yet here you are." The silence between us carried ghosts. That night, Grace came by my penthouse. She was one of the few people who'd stood by me when everything fell apart. "Your assistant let me in," she said, tossing her coat on the couch. "You're playing with fire again," I smirked. "You sound like Sarah." "Sarah's smart," Grace said. "I'd listen to her if I were you." "She's fine," I said. "Clara's harmless now." Grace crossed her arms. "No one who destroys you once comes back harmless." "She's desperate." "Desperate people are dangerous," I sighed, pouring her a drink. "I know what I'm doing." She raised an eyebrow. "Do you? Or are you convincing yourself of that?" I handed her the glass. "I'm not the man she remembers, Grace. She can't hurt me anymore." "Then why are your hands shaking?" I looked down. She was right. They were. The next morning, I met Daniel at a cafe downtown. He was a journalist with a reputation for tearing down the powerful. "You said you had something for me," he said, sipping his coffee. "I have everything," I replied. "Liam Ward, fraud, money laundering, political bribes, the whole rotten structure," Daniel whistled. "You've been busy." "5 years buys you patience," I said. "And a long memory," he leaned forward. "You want me to publish it?" "Not yet." "I want him cornered first. What about Clara?" he asked. "She's part of it." "How so?" "She's the past," I said. "And I'm rewriting it." Back at the office, Sarah intercepted me. Grace came by. She looked worried. She always does. She said, "You're using Clara." "I'm using the situation," I replied. "Ethan." "I'm fine, Sarah." "You're lying," she said. I stopped walking. "You think I'm doing this for revenge?" "Aren't you?" I smiled faintly. "Maybe, or maybe I'm taking back what was stolen." By noon, I was in the conference room. Clara brought me coffee, her hands trembling slightly. "Are you okay?" I asked. She looked startled. "You're asking me that?" "Consider it professional courtesy," she smiled faintly. "You've changed." "I had to." She nodded. "I wish I had." I leaned closer. "Don't mistake pity for forgiveness." "I'm not asking for it," she said quietly. "Just a chance to be someone better." I studied her face. "You'll have your chance soon." That evening, Daniel called. "Your friend Liam's empire is cracking," he said. A few of his partners flipped. "Good," I said. "Let the walls close in. This could ruin him completely." "That's the point." "What about you? You'll be dragged into the headlines again." "I'm ready this time," I said. "The truth's on my side," he chuckled. "You sound almost noble." "I'm not," I replied. "I'm just tired of being the villain in someone else's story." When I returned to the office, Clara was still there, sorting files under the dim light. "You should go home," I said. "I don't have a home," she whispered. I paused. "Then don't be late tomorrow." She looked up. "Ethan, why are you really helping me?" "I'm not helping you," I said. "I'm helping myself." "How?" "By finishing what you started." Her eyes filled with something between fear and understanding. "You're planning something, aren't you?" I smiled. "Let's just say karma likes a well-written script." She didn't respond, but I saw it, the flicker of suspicion behind her tears. As I watched her leave, I finally felt it. Control. Not peace, not forgiveness, just the steady calm before the storm. The web was tightening, and this time I was the spider. I was in my office when Daniel called. "It's happening," he said. I leaned back. "How bad?" "Bad enough. Liam's company's under investigation. Fraud, bribery, tax evasion, you name it. The press is eating it alive," I smiled faintly. "Karma finally found his address." Daniel chuckled. "You sound almost satisfied." "Almost," I said. "But satisfaction comes when the dust settles." He paused. "You ever worry this makes you like him?" "No," I said. "He stole my life. I'm just taking back what was mine." When I hung up, I saw Clara standing by the door. "You heard?" I asked. Her face was pale. "They're saying he's finished." Liam, he's hiding. The news says he fled the city, I nodded. Interesting. He always ran when things got real. Her voice trembled. He told me everything would be fine, that we'd be untouchable. People like him always think that, I said. Until reality knocks. She stepped closer. Ethan, I swear I didn't know. He used me. I stared at her. Used you how? I thought he loved me, she whispered. But I was just his cover. He put everything in my name. His accounts, properties, even the offshore money. Now it's all frozen. I'm ruined. I stood walking toward the window. The skyline shimmered like a blade. So, he left you to take the fall. Her eyes filled. Yes, he destroyed me. I turned slowly. Welcome to my world, she flinched. Ethan, please don't say that. I didn't mean for this to happen. You didn't mean to betray me either, right? I was stupid, she said, voice cracking. I believed him. I believed he loved me. You believed what you wanted, I replied. And now you're paying the price. She stepped forward. I came to say I'm sorry. Not for pity, not for forgiveness, just because I had to. I looked at her carefully. Sorry doesn't fix what you broke. I know, she said, but I can't carry it anymore. Every night I see your face. The way you looked when I walked away. I hear your voice. I hate myself for it. Her tears fell fast, but I didn't move. Ethan, she whispered, you were the only real thing in my life. I ruined it because I was scared of being ordinary. I sighed. And you ended up with nothing extraordinary except regret. She sank into the chair, trembling. I lost everything. My friends, my home, my name. Liam's gone. The world hates me. And you're the only person who even looks at me anymore. Don't mistake looking for caring, I said quietly. But you do care, she said, her voice desperate. If you didn't, you wouldn't be standing here listening. Maybe she was right. But I couldn't let her see that. Regret, I said slowly, is not redemption. She froze. I stepped closer. You can cry, apologize, bleed if you want, but it doesn't erase what you did. It doesn't make you someone new. It just makes you aware of what you destroyed. Her lips trembled. I know, but I had to tell you. Even if it changes nothing. It changes nothing, I repeated. She looked down, broken. Then I guess this is my punishment. No, I said. This is your reminder. The room went silent except for her quiet sobs. I should have felt triumphant. I should have felt free. Instead, I felt hollow. She looked up again. Do you ever wonder, what if none of this happened? What if we'd stayed together? I almost laughed. Then maybe I'd still be naive and you'd still be pretending. She shook her head. No, maybe we'd be happy. People like us don't get happy, I said. We get lessons. She stood, wiping her eyes. Then maybe that's what we were, each other's lesson. Maybe, I said softly. But one of us learned too late. She hesitated at the door. Will you ever forgive me? I didn't answer. When she finally left, I sank into my chair. The city lights blurred outside like stars drowned in smog. For years I'd dreamed of this moment, of seeing her broken, of watching her regret. But now that it was here, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like loss, just dressed differently. Maybe I didn't miss her. Maybe I just missed the man I was before she turned me into this, and maybe that was the cruelest part of karma. It never gives back what it takes. Sarah slammed the file onto my desk. You're losing it, Ethan. I looked up slowly. Morning to you, too. I'm serious, she snapped. You're not healing. You're burning yourself alive. Her voice echoed through the office, sharp enough to cut the silence. Funny, I said. I thought success looked like peace. She crossed her arms. You call this peace? Watching Clara every second, keeping her under your thumb? That's obsession. It's control, I said. Something I didn't have before. She leaned closer. Control doesn't fix a broken heart. It just hides the pieces, I sighed. I'm not broken anymore. She gave a humorless laugh. Then why do you look like you haven't slept in days? Because I'm working, I said. No, she replied softly. You're drowning. And you think revenge is oxygen. Her words hit deeper than I wanted to admit. I turned away. You don't understand. I understand more than you think, she said. You're still chasing ghosts. But ghosts don't love you back. Hours later, Clara appeared at my office door. Her eyes were red, her hands shaking slightly. Can we talk? She asked. About what? I said, regret? Again, she walked in anyway. I I wanted to thank you. You could have ruined me, but you didn't. Not yet, I muttered. She ignored it. You've changed, Ethan. You're stronger, colder. But there's still something I remember. Stop. She took a step closer. I can't. Every time I see you, I remember who you were. I miss him. The man you left behind? I asked. Yes, she whispered. I thought he was weak. But now I see he was the only one who ever loved me for real. Her voice trembled. And I ruined it. You did, I said. Tears gathered in her eyes. But maybe we could start over. Maybe. Before I could react, she reached up and pressed her lips to mine. For a moment, the world froze. The same scent, the same touch, everything I once craved flooded back. Then reality snapped. I pulled away, hard. Don't, she stared at me, startled. Ethan, don't ever do that again. She looked broken. You thought wrong, I said sharply. You're not in love with me. You're in love with what you lost, her voice cracked. And what if I am? Then it's too late, I said. Because that man doesn't exist anymore. She stood there in silence, eyes glistening. You really mean that? I do, her lips trembled. Then what do you feel now? I looked at her, really looked, at the tears, the regret, the desperation. Once they would have destroyed me. Now they just reminded me of how far I'd come. I feel nothing, I said, and maybe that's the clearest I've ever been. She covered her face and turned toward the door. I deserve that. You deserve truth, I said quietly. That's all that's left between us. When she left, the air felt heavier. Sarah entered minutes later, eyes sharp but sad. I heard shouting. You always do, I said. What happened? Clara kissed me. Her eyebrows shot up. And? I stopped her. Sarah studied me. You really did? Yes, she smiled faintly. Progress. Don't start, I warned. She ignored me. Do you know why you stopped her? Because I don't love her anymore. She tilted her head. Are you sure? I hesitated. I'm sure enough, Sarah stepped closer. Then stop letting her live rent-free in your head. I'm trying, I said. Try harder, she replied. Because the longer you hold on to the past, the less room you'll have for anything real. I met her eyes. Like what? She didn't look away. Like someone who actually stayed. Her words hung in the air, quiet but sharp. I swallowed. Sarah. Don't, she said quickly. I'm not saying this for me. I just want you to stop hurting yourself. I smiled faintly. You're the only one who still believes I can. Then let that mean something, she said softly. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The city lights outside flickered through the glass, painting her face in gold. She turned to leave, but stopped at the door. You don't need revenge, Ethan. You need peace. Find it before it's too late. When she was gone, I sat in the silence she left behind. Maybe she was right. Maybe I didn't need revenge anymore. Maybe I needed someone who'd never walked away. I was reviewing quarterly reports when the door slammed open. Liam stormed in, face red, tie loose, eyes wild. You think you've won, don't you? I leaned back slowly. That depends on what game you think we're playing. Don't act innocent, he shouted. You leaked those files, Daniel, the journalist. You fed him everything. I smiled faintly. Maybe he just did his job. He slammed his fists on my desk. Don't play with me, Ethan. My investors are gone, my company's in flames, and my name is dirt. Then it seems karma reads the news too, I said quietly. You ruined me. I stood up. No, Liam, you ruined yourself. I just watched. His breath came in short bursts. You think you're righteous? You're just as pathetic as you were when Clara left you. I met his glare. Funny. You're angrier about losing money than you ever were about losing her. He froze for a moment, then sneered. You think she loves you now? She came crawling back because she had nowhere else to go. I know, I said. He frowned. You know? Yes, and that's why I didn't take her back. His jaw tightened. You really believe you're better than me? No, I said calmly. Just smarter. I learned from the pain you caused. You, on the other hand, keep recycling your own mistakes. He laughed bitterly. You always talked like a saint. Turns out you're just vindictive. Vindictive? I stepped closer. I didn't plant those lies in your reports. I didn't forge your deals. You did that yourself, because of you, he shouted. I had to compete, to stay ahead, to prove I was better. So you destroyed yourself trying to outshine a man you betrayed, he pointed at me. You always think you're the victim. No, I said, lowering my voice. I was the lesson. He looked ready to lunge when security burst in. Sir, is everything okay? I raised a hand. It's fine, Mr. Hayes was just leaving. I'm not leaving, Liam barked. Not until I get answers. There are no answers left, I said. Just consequences. 2 guards stepped forward. Sir, we'll have to escort you out. Liam shoved one of them aside. Don't touch me! The movement was desperate, unbalanced. His composure cracked like glass. I looked at him, the man who once gloated over my collapse, now shaking with rage and fear. You should go, Liam, I said softly. Before you break what little you have left. He glared at me one last time. This isn't over. It already is. The guards took him by the arms, dragging him toward the elevator. His curses echoed down the hallway until the sound disappeared. For a long moment I stood there, staring at the empty doorway. Then, another voice. Quiet. Trembling. Ethan? Clara? She stepped inside, eyes darting nervously. What happened? Liam happened, I said. You just missed his meltdown. She pressed a hand to her mouth. Oh God, he told me he was coming here. I tried to stop him. I turned to face her. Why, still protecting him? Her eyes filled with tears. No, I just didn't want you both to destroy each other. I gave a small, humorless laugh. He's already destroyed enough, she shook her head. You don't understand. He's lost everything. He's not the same. Neither am I said. She looked at me, searching for the man she once knew, maybe hoping he'd still pity her. You really hate us that much? I don't hate you, I said. I just finally stopped needing you, her voice cracked. He begged me to defend him. Said you set him up, I sighed. Liam doesn't need enemies. He creates them, she wiped her eyes. I thought if I stood by him it would make what I did to you less cruel, does it? No, she whispered. It just made me smaller, I nodded slowly. At least you can admit it. She took a step forward. Ethan, is there any part of you that still cares? I hesitated, then said, there's a part that remembers. But that's not the same thing. Her lips trembled. He walked out on me again. I'm not surprised. She looked up, hurt flickering in her eyes. You really don't care anymore. I cared long enough, I said. Now I just let karma do its job. She stared at me for a long time. You sound cold. I'm calm, I corrected. There's a difference. Her shoulders dropped. You got your justice, didn't you? No, I said. Justice got itself. I just waited. She turned toward the door, wiping her face. Then I guess there's nothing left to say? Not anymore, I said quietly. Take care, Clara. She paused at the doorway. You really mean that? I do. Because I don't want to see you fall again. I just want to stop looking back. She gave a faint, broken smile and left. When the door closed, silence filled the room again. I sat back down staring at the city skyline. They thought they could define me once. But now their names were just echoes in a story that finally made sense. Karma didn't need my help. It just needed time. The city looked different at night, calmer, softer, like even the lights were tired of pretending. I sat by the window, glass of whiskey untouched, watching reflections of what I used to be flicker across the skyline. The knock came quietly. Come in, I said. Grace stepped inside, coat still buttoned. Her expression was unreadable, part concern, part hesitation. You're still here, she said softly. I figured you'd be celebrating. Celebrating what? I asked. A man's downfall? My own emptiness? She sighed, walking closer. You got your closure, Ethan. I gave a bitter smile. Closure doesn't come with applause, Grace. It just leaves silence. She studied me for a moment, then held out an envelope. This came for you. From Clara. I stared at it but didn't move. You opened it? No, she said. She gave it to me before she left the city. Said I'd know when to give it to you. She's gone? She said she needed to disappear. To start over. I nodded slowly, the words echoing in the quiet room. Start over. That's a phrase I used to believe in. Maybe you still should, Grace said gently. You're free now, I laughed under my breath. Freedom feels overrated. Read it, she said, placing the envelope on the table. You'll regret it if you don't. When she left, the room felt colder. I stared at the letter for what felt like an hour before finally tearing it open. Her handwriting, shaky, uneven, familiar. Ethan, if you're reading this, it means I've run out of ways to make things right. I told myself I left you for love, but the truth is, I left you out of fear. You believed in me too much, and I didn't know how to live up to that. Liam made it easy. Easy to run, easy to lie. Every day since, I've hated the person I became. You were right, regret isn't redemption. But I still needed you to know that you once meant everything to me. Even when I destroyed it. I don't expect forgiveness, just acknowledgement that once I mattered. Clara. I folded the letter slowly, feeling something tighten in my chest. Not anger, not pity, just a quiet exhaustion. I walked to the fireplace, held the paper above the flame. Is that how you end it? Grace's voice startled me. She'd come back, standing by the door. How long have you been there? I asked. Long enough? Yes, I said, holding the paper steady. This is how I end it. The flame caught quickly, curling the edges into black lace. She wanted acknowledgement, Grace said. She got it, I whispered. Just not in words. You could have kept it, she murmured. No, I said. If I kept it, I'd keep her. The last piece turned to ash, drifting down like gray snow. I watched it until nothing remained but faint smoke. Grace stepped beside me. Do you feel better? Not better, I said. Lighter, she studied my face. You ever wonder if you still loved her? I nodded slightly. Every day, but love fades when it has nothing left to hold on to. And Sarah? Her name felt strange in the air, softer somehow. She's real, I said. She sees me for who I am now, not who I was. Then maybe that's your peace, Grace said quietly. Maybe. I poured the untouched whiskey into the sink. I think I've had enough ghosts for one lifetime. Grace smiled faintly. You always did prefer fire over ghosts. Fire leaves warmth, I said. Ghosts just whisper. She touched my shoulder gently. Then stop listening. I looked at the city again, the same skyline, but it didn't feel the same anymore. It looked possible. Do you think people ever really change? I asked. Grace shrugged. I think the pain changes first. Then the person follows. I nodded. Then maybe I'm finally catching up. She turned to leave. You made your choice, Ethan. Yes, I said quietly. I chose to let it end. When the door closed behind her, I stood there, watching the last curl of smoke fade into the night. You did mean something, I whispered to the air. Once. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel the need to say anything more. The sea was quiet that morning, just soft waves brushing against the sand, like time itself had slowed to listen. I hadn't been back here in years. The last time I was broken, half-drunk, and begging the sky for mercy that never came. Now, I just stood there, hands in my pockets, breathing in the salt and wind. Didn't think you'd show, Sarah said behind me. I turned and smiled. You should know by now I always keep my word. She walked closer, her hair caught in the breeze, sunlight glinting off her eyes. It's strange, she said, glancing at the horizon. You look different here, lighter? I am, I said quietly. The past doesn't hurt anymore. It just reminds me who I am, she tilted her head. And who's that? The man I was supposed to be all along. Sarah smiled, but her voice softened. You sound like someone who finally forgave himself. I chuckled under my breath. Forgiveness took time. Too much, maybe, but it came. She crossed her arms, her gaze steady on me. You don't talk about her anymore. There's nothing left to say, I replied. Clara left town. Liam vanished from the headlines. They became ghosts of their own making. Sarah studied me. Do you ever think about what you'd say if you saw her again? I shook my head. No, some stories end better in silence. She came back once to see you, Ethan, she said softly. But maybe it wasn't you she wanted to see. I know, I said. She came looking for the man she destroyed. But all she found was the man she could never have again. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she said, That's poetic. Truth usually is, I said. Ugly when it happens, beautiful when it's over. She laughed gently. You sound like you've written a book about it. Maybe I did, I said. Every scar's a page. She looked at me, then down at the sand. So, what now? The company's running itself. The city's behind you. You've won, Ethan. I looked out at the water. Winning and healing aren't the same thing. Then what are you looking for? Peace, I said. Just peace, she smiled faintly. You already have it. You just don't recognize it yet. Maybe, I said. But peace feels strange when you've lived too long with chaos. Sarah stepped beside me, close enough for our shoulders to almost touch. You don't owe your pain anything anymore, she said. Not her, not him, not even yourself. I exhaled slowly. You make it sound easy. It isn't, she said. But it's worth it. For a while we said nothing. Only the sea spoke, steady, endless, indifferent. Then she said quietly, You know, I used to hate her. Clara? She nodded. For what she did to you. For how she made you shut the world out. And now? Now I'm grateful, she said. Because if she hadn't left, you'd never have found who you really are. Her words hit deeper than I expected. I smiled. You always find a way to make tragedy sound like a gift. That's because it is, she said. Pain shapes people. You just learn to use it instead of letting it use you. The wind carried her voice softly, almost like it didn't want to let go of her words. I used to think revenge would fix everything, I admitted. That if I could destroy what destroyed me, I'd feel whole again. And now? She asked. Now I know revenge isn't about destroying others, I said. It's about rebuilding yourself so completely that their memory no longer defines you. Sarah smiled, eyes warm. That sounds like peace to me. Maybe it is. We stood there silent again, watching the sun rise higher. The golden light stretched across the water, and for once it didn't remind me of the past. It felt like something new, something clean. I never thought I'd see you smile like that, Sarah said softly. Like what? Like someone who's free. I smiled wider, the breeze brushing against my face. Maybe I finally am. She looked at me, her voice barely above a whisper. You deserve happiness, Ethan. I think I'm finally ready for it, I said. She took my hand and I didn't pull away. The silence between us wasn't heavy anymore. It was peaceful, honest, real. For the first time in 5 years, I didn't feel haunted. I looked at the sea one last time. The storm's over, I said quietly. And I'm still standing. Sarah squeezed my hand. Then walk forward, Ethan. The tide's already changing. I nodded. Yeah, I can feel it. The waves kept whispering, carrying away everything that once hurt. And as I stood there beside her, I realized the man who once fell apart on this same beach no longer existed. I had become someone else entirely.